Hey everybody, welcome back. Listen, we've got breaking news. Breaking news, guys, in the world of boxing. The current world heavyweight champion, Terence "Bud" Crawford, is hanging it up, guys. He just walked away from boxing. The undefeated, undisputed champion of the world. And right after his fight, well, not right after, but his last fight was against Canelo Alvarez. No farewell tour, no cash grab trilogy, no one last run, although a lot of people want it. Just done. Just done, guys. And honestly, this might be the most... I don't know, man. This might be one of the most shocking OG exits in boxing history. Now, there's been a lot of drama surrounding Terence Crawford as of late, with refusing to pay the WBC for the fees that the sanctioning body has requested of Terence Crawford and his camp to pay for his recent fight against Canelo and becoming undisputed champion and having the WBC belt. And along with that responsibility and being ranked and being part of that sanctioning body, there are fees. And he refused to pay those fees. In fact, it started to get really ugly when the WBC front office was trying to get hold of Terence Crawford and his manager, his camp, and to no avail. Nobody was returning WBC's calls, emails, nothing. Just ghosted them. And so we're talking about a $300,000 some dollars in fees that he was expected to pay. A part of that money obviously goes to administrative costs and, helping the organization run and what have you. And then a large portion of that money is supposed to be going to former ex-fighters, people in need, fighters who are struggling, who have some kind of physical disability, perhaps medical bills, the list goes on and on and on. And he refused to pay, and he started to get a lot of backlash from people all over social media, hearing it from other boxers and fellow, peers. So I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it, because since he refused to pay those fees, the WBC essentially said that Terence Crawford is no longer allowed to be able to fight any of their fighters that are part of the WBC. And so therefore it starts to limit the kind of competition that Terence Crawford could potentially have. So that becomes a big issue. So yes, guys, this is absolutely crazy, guys. Terence Crawford, okay, he had a perfect record of 42-0. He had all the belts. He had to vacate the WBC belt, obviously, because, he refused to pay those fees. And he did it right after the biggest win of his career, legacy win against Canelo Alvarez for the super middleweight gold, if you want to call it that, or crown. I think crown is a better word. They said that over 40 million people watched this fight on Netflix. The Allegiant Stadium in Vegas was just packed, solid, guys. There was not even standing room. It was just packed. It was huge from these kind of fights happen every now and then, but they don't come all too often. And this had a global impact. It was historic, for obvious reasons. Anybody who was anybody was in that stadium. But look, he was at an IBA event in Dubai. I'm talking about Crawford. And a lot of people were saying that he looked checked out. He didn't even look like he wanted to be there. He didn't want to talk to the media. He didn't want to talk about no future talk. So a lot of people around him were kind of confused because his demeanor was off. He just wasn't the same Terence Crawford. And now when you piece all of this together like a puzzle, it starts to make sense as to why Crawford was behaving this way, right? And so anyways, he goes on record, goes online, he posts this video with the gloves kind of hung up, simple caption, no drama. And he says, walking away as a great with nothing else left to prove. Like, just think about that, guys. Walking away as a great with nothing else to prove. Technically, he's got nothing else to prove. And that line right there, I mean, I think that sums it up. You know, he wasn't chasing belts anymore. He wasn't chasing money. He's got all the money in the world. And he wasn't chasing headlines, and nor was he chasing legacy, because guess what? He got all of that. But there's this feeling, I think, that was bugging him. Something deep down inside that people like Crawford would know. And, and this is a point where kind of everyone starts to doubt you. And even though you keep proving them wrong. And look, guys, like, honestly, I mean, Terence Crawford is going to be known as a legend. All right. I mean, he's kind of like a no-nonsense kind of guy. He's, when he's in the ring, he's all business, right? He does what he does, and this, I don't know if this is like, I mean, this is official, guys. He's really hung it up, guys, but I'm not sure. I mean, if this is just like another retirement. I mean, this definitely is a rare one. I mean, anything and everything about Terence Crawford is unique. It's situational. It's different, right? And like, some people are like, no, come on, stay in there a little bit longer. One more payday. For what? He's got all the money that he needs, right? I mean, at some point, sometimes fighters stay beyond, the time that they're supposed to stay. It's kind of like that one house guest that just won't leave after a party, just continues to stay there. And it sucks, And, in this case, the sport's not trying to push Terence Crawford out. They're trying to continue to hold on to him. I did realize, I was a little concerned with his age going into the Canelo fight, being 38 years old. Obviously, as he starts to get older, he's going to start to think a little bit more about his health. And, kind of those are the things that kind of matter to somebody. And then the question starts to kind of linger in your head. Is it worth it? Is it worth continuing on this fight? So anyways, Crawford walked away on his own terms, undefeated, undisputed, healthy, and, mentally acute. Okay. This rarely happens in boxing. And honestly, let's be real, for him to have beaten Canelo at probably one of the biggest events, just the whole atmosphere, everything that was happening in Allegiant Stadium, all the people that were around him, it was absolutely historic. That, I think, honestly, was a final cap. It was a final stamp. And, the playbill, that's it. No more pages in the playbill. Anything after that could potentially hurt his legacy. And he knew that. But he kept on going. There was conversations potentially about him and Boots, Jerome Boots Ennis potentially. There was a lot of noise. There was a lot of noise about Terence Crawford. Apparently he was one of the boxers that Jake Paul and MVP Promotions had reached out to when the whole fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis fell apart. And Terence Crawford was one of those fighters that his camp actually responded back to Jake Paul saying that they were interested in fighting him. Can you imagine? Terence Crawford versus Jake Paul. That would have been crazy, guys. I mean, straight up, it is what it is. He is going to leave behind a little bit of controversy surrounding this whole thing with the WBC. At the end of the day, he's got to sort that stuff out himself. That's between him and WBC. But look, fans are still going to be by his side. And, and when people say, why doesn't somebody retire at the top? Well, here he is. This is what it looks like, guys, because he's retiring at the top. And look, a lot of us want him to continue to fight. But does he really need to? I think he's done what he had to do. He's entertained the crowds and the masses around the world. And, honestly, you never know with these guys. I mean, somebody might drag them back with a big payday. Say, hey, Terence, we want to give you $100 million to fight this guy. That's something that he might consider, potentially. I can't speak on his behalf. I'm not part of his training camp, his management team, or his publicist or anything like that. That's something that Terence Crawford's going to have to decide. A potential rematch against Canelo Alvarez would be super massive. Cross promotion super fights would also bring in huge paydays, like guys again, him fighting guys like Jake Paul and people along those lines, and maybe even fighting in another division. I mean, that could be historical yet again. But if he loses, that would be bad, because now again, as he gets older, he's more susceptible to injuries and those kind of issues, right? One bad night, one bad punch could change everything. So retiring now, I don't think is a bad thing. It's unfortunate we're going to lose a huge giant in the sport, but a guy like Terence Crawford is not going to completely walk away. Chances are he's going to stick around. He's going to probably do some mentoring. He's probably going to hang out at the gyms. And you never know. A guy like him, he might actually get into business and maybe want to start putting on his own fights. Maybe he'll get into the promotion business. So I don't know if he's going to completely close his chapter, his book in the sport of boxing. I think he will still remain a part of boxing in some capacity. So that's yet to be determined. We'll see what happens. No loose ends here, guys. No excuses. He just walked away, and nothing went wrong. I think he just realized it was his time. So kudos to him. So I want to hear from you guys. Did Terence Crawford retire at the most opportune, perfect moment, or do you actually want to see him fight one more fight? Drop your thoughts and comments below, guys. And if you rock with Real Fight Talk, please smash a like and subscribe, and join us here on Duality 7X for more of that unbelievable storylines that we bring to you on a day-to-day basis. I'm Shiraz, that's my opinion, and that was the cleanest exit boxing has seen in years. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you on the next one.